Hello and welcome to Infinity. I'm Charlie Seraphin, and this time we're talking about acupuncture. Our guest is Dr. Stephen Chang, an acupuncturist and herbologist who practices in San Francisco. His great-great-grandfather was the personal physician to the Emperor of China. As a matter of fact, members of his family have been doctors for the last 2,000 years. Dr. Chang has lectured all over the world and is the author of several books, including The Complete Book of Acupuncture. Welcome, Dr. Chang. In the West, the body is considered a conglomeration of different systems that are working together. The respiratory system, the digestive system, the nervous system, and so on. Is your view of the body similar or different?
I think, of course, physically they are the same. Of course, we have all different parts to work together. To very simplify to explain what is acupuncture, just like a battery, to charge the battery. That's the simplest way I can represent.
And if the battery isn't working, then all the other mechanical parts in the automobile won't work either.
That's correct. Just like in a car.
We hear the term meridians. What does that mean? How do they work?
Meridian is the pathway of the electricity, or we call the life force. For example, like a person is dead. We can beat him up and he doesn't have any response because the battery is completely dead. And if the person has the power, the life vital force, or magnetic field, or electronic magnetic field, whatever we call the terms, that's one kind of energy. This energy is in the body, it's the power, but they do have a pathway to flow around, just like if we ask a question, where is your blood? So we said the blood is in our body. That's not very correct answer. We have to say the blood is in our blood vessels. So where is the electricity? Where is the energy, vital energy? Is in the meridians. The meridians is the pathway of the vital energy.
Are the meridians the same for every human being, or does each human being have different meridians? Now, the circulatory system, the blood system of a human being, each one is a little bit different, but generally it's the same for most people.
The location, I think everybody about the same. But somebody's shorter, somebody's taller. That's why the location may be a little bit different, each one. But from the ancient time, they found the meridians thousands of years ago. Now we have all the scientific device to prove it. Actually, it exists, and almost about the same location.
You use the analogy of a battery. When a battery is dead, sometimes you can recharge the battery. Is it possible to reintroduce this life force, this energy, electricity, into a body that is dead? Can we physically bring someone back to life?
That's correct. In the history, in the Chinese history, they talk about miracles, use acupuncture to bring dead people back to life. Of course, very, very few chance, just a few samples. They call resurrection. The main thing we have to consider, the point is not wait until completely dead to charge back. We have to keep charging it, make it never die.
In China, acupuncture has been practiced for how many years?
I think at least exists 5,000 years or more.
Do you know, through the studies that you have done of the subject and through the passing of information from your ancestors, where it came from? Who got the idea that there was electricity in the body? Where did where did it start? Did someone just stumble on it? Was it an accident?
Okay, there's a term called Tao, T-A-O. Tao, they pronounce Tao or Tao, whatever. Taoism. That's the philosophy of the basic study life and try to prolong life, try to reach immortality. That's the basic thinking of the Taoism. So many Taoists, we can call them as all the scientists or philosopher, they try to search this answer. That's why they meditate on, they experiment on human being or animals. They found all of these theories. Acupuncture is one of them. That's the very beginning, the background.
Do you know if acupuncture was developed independently in any other part of the world? So many things originated from China. Is there any suggestion that this is a kind of a universal truth that maybe someone in Africa or in Native American Indians in North America or some other place were also using acupuncture at the time that the Chinese were?
Absolutely. Everybody's using. You and I, unconsciously, we're using acupuncture. For example, if we hit some place, we hit our ankles or on some place, then first thing is put the hand on. We try, look like it as a biological reaction or reflex. We try to protect ourselves. Actually, it's not that simple. Just put the hand on those painful spots, rub a little bit. So that's is a broad meaning of acupuncture, because that touching, they call touch. There's a book called Touch for Health. So that touching we sent to encourage the circulation and also encourage the body to produce some kind of chemicals to help the healing process to correct it. So that's why I think in every corner, everywhere, anytime, everybody's using the acupuncture. But only thing is not using the needles. Of course, the needle is not only methods of acupuncture.
What about that? There are some people now, I imagine, acupuncture was something that wasn't commonly recognized or talked about in the United States, 100 years ago, and probably not too much 50 years ago, except perhaps in the Chinese community. But in the last 15, 20 years, in the last 10 years, I'm certain of, there's been a lot of publicity about acupuncture. Various famous people use acupuncture for different afflictions that they've had, and professional athletes. I have read a story recently about a boxer who is very much into tuning his body with acupuncture before he would go into the ring for a big fight. So we are more conscious of it. But along with that consciousness has also brought a number of charlatans to the arena of acupuncture, people who claim to be acupuncturists who perhaps are not as good as others. And sometimes when that happens, the whole body of knowledge gets a kind of a bad name. Let's talk about the different techniques. And you say it's a natural thing. If you bump yourself or you hurt yourself, you instinctively put your hand, you rub a sore spot, and that it does basically the same thing that acupuncture does. It brings the energies to heal that part of the body.
Yes.
What about the use of the needles? Is that the ancient Chinese tradition of acupuncture? How long have Chinese acupuncturists been using the needles?
Use the needles. There's a little, like some coincidence. Before using needles, people use fingers. That's a natural. God give us this tool.
Mm-hmm.
And also they use stones. They use coins, the copper coins. They use fire. They use water, all kind of techniques. I think I'm going to write a book on that. Using needles is one kind of coincidence, because in ancient time they have war, the civil war. They fight on each other. And they have a lot of wounded soldiers. They have a medical history. They have this kind of problem, that kind of problem. After they get wounded a certain place, and that original problem disappeared. So they found that this wound may cause some kind of relationship between this disease and this wound. So they searched that. They follow the meridians, follow the points, and they found out definitely has some kind of relationship in between. Then they say, why don't we artificially make a wound there? So they use a big needles like a knife, like an arrow or something to make people wounded.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, they, from the experiment, they found that that's not necessary to make that big wound. So then they shrink the tool to a little size, smaller, until today this size is very, very tiny size. Even you stick in on your body, you don't feel it. So that's the acupuncture. Of course, like I said before, the needles is not only tool. Could use all kinds of things, just like our fingers, so-called acupressure, has even more effective.
Some of the people that are using needles connected to little batteries or to electrodes, so that there is an actual electrical charge that goes through the needle. Obviously, if you're going to use a stone or a copper coin or your I won't say your finger. I'll keep that out because there's electricity in the finger as well.
Yes.
Is that essential? Does that help? What's the thought behind using the electrical needle?
This is one artificial or natural. This is different right there. We use a stone. Stone is a living thing too. They have electricity. They have their life force. There's a part of the universe. We use the fish bones. We use a bamboo tip or whatever. They do have something electricity going on there. And of course, then lately, people want everything, try to overemphasize something. Then the sticky needle, like a Japanese, before they burned a little herb on the top and added the heat into the needle to send into the body to try to improve the effectiveness. So they put the electricity battery on that, hook on a little machine. The machine send like a wave, like a little vibration. They try to combine the massage and electricity adjustment together. I think that that kind of idea is a little bit too artificial, because the body is not only a mechanic thing. There's a living soul. So have to be natural. Like these days, we prefer natural food and so on. We found those artificial things really do more harm than benefit. So I think I heard so many cases people use the artificial way and hook on the battery or something, sometimes make the symptom worse. So I think the natural way is much better, because if it's not working, they cannot exist so long. Since they are working, why we have to do something over than necessary?
Let's talk about the meridians and acupuncture in terms of the healing benefits. Is it possible that one of the related aspects of making acupuncture work is psychosomatic? Is it important that the person who's undergoing the acupuncture feels good about it, believes in it, wants it to work for them? And if someone is, could acupuncture work on someone that didn't want to have it work for them? Would it work automatically, or is it something that has to be done in cooperation with that person that you're working on?
Of course, cooperation have more effectiveness. That's for sure. Because if the human being, the brain, the mind, reject something and then create a blockage. But this is something we can call that a scientific part. Doesn't matter you're really rejected or under unconsciousness or what, like the acupuncture applied on animals. The animals doesn't have a mind to reject it or receive it or like it or dislike it, but still effect. Like a lot of people use acupuncture on horse, on cow, on cats. They're still effective. So I think it's not a big deal, you believe or not. Mm-hmm. As long as the battery gets charged. So just reach that point. So you have the effectiveness. But the problem is, if a person's battery needs repair, you keep charging it, you keep losing it. So you have to repair that battery first, then charge it. So you use a word very, very nice. I really appreciate that. It's tune up. Tune up. So I think this for acupuncture is not really, should not be considered as a tool to treat, to cure disease. Actually, it's a tool to maintain, for maintenance, to tune. Once in a while, we need to recharge because we keep deplete until one day come to 0 point. Then that means death.
When we talk about the tune-up as being a basic element of acupuncture, that's not very glamorous to a lot of people. It's not something that you would read a big newspaper headline about or a magazine article, or that they would do a radio program or a television program about. People are interested in the more fascinating things. I have heard stories that Chinese surgeons use acupuncture as an anesthetic in very complicated surgery, even for brain surgery. That's the only anesthetic. There's no drugs given to the person to knock them out or anything else. They use acupuncture. Is that true?
It is true. And the theory is very simple. Just like the telephone. If we have only one line, if somebody call you and you keep talking to this person, occupy this line, then other friends try to call in. You can call from morning to night. You keep trying, you still cannot call in because I'm using this telephone line always, using it. Unless I hang up and the other one can call in.
Mm-hmm.
The acupuncture anesthesia, just using this simple theory, we make one pain or something noise right there to occupy the central nervous system. And keep using it, keep using the line, then the other line, the other report cannot reach that center. That's why we don't feel the pain. So that's why there is one nurse use one needle on somewhere to of course, at some point more sensitive than the other point. They choose, of course, from the study, they choose one very sensitive point to keep twisting it. Keep twisting. And a few minutes later, would be sure that line has been occupied. Then you can cut other part of the body. You don't feel anything until this nurse took the needle out or stopped twisting. Then that line had been cut. So then the new report can be sent in. That's why we can feel pain. So this looks like a very like a dramatic thing happened in the world. I think in China they use this technique like a ping pong ball, like a diplomatic purpose. Use that since Nixon's trip to China. They emphasize on that to try to attract the Western people. They say, "Oh, how good! You see, you can use the needle and for apply anesthesia." Actually, the purpose is not for that. That's just like a put on a show. The purpose is, like I said before, to like maintain the health, not only just for surgery.
Much of the acupuncture that I have read about, heard about, and in fact seen has been done through the ear. And it's said that there are a couple of hundred acupuncture points in the ear, each one affecting a different part of the body. Is that accurate? And if it is, how does it work?
From my own study, that's the only lately, about 20 years old history, the communist China, some acupuncturists try to use the ear point, try to prove it something related with the body. But so far, there's no 100% evidence to support. So it must have some link between. Of course, we have a lot of nerve endings on the ears, but how effective can be applied to the body or a certain point definitely related with that, or definitely how much the degree can be effective. So there's no proof yet. I think still need a lot of research or a lot of time to prove. The body point had to be used for thousands of years. Of course, some point we definitely sure that's very sensitive and good for a certain part of the body. But the ear still need time to prove.
Okay. Could you give us some practical examples of where some of the acupuncture points are in a body that might affect different organs? Let's say our heart. That's a basic organ. Where if you wanted to, if they were on the road to recovery, they had been overweight and they started to lose some weight and everything, and they were told they had high blood pressure and some other heart problems, and they were consciously working to do this, and you wanted to help them along with a kind of a tune-up for the area around the heart. Where is the acupuncture point for that, or where are some of the points?
Yes, this is a great. I think this is, everybody should know this point to actually really save a life for heart problem. For example, people had chest pain, like angina. It just happened in a second. So before you can reach the medicine bottle, maybe sometimes become too late. from my experience, I suggest people just do yourself type acupuncture. Just put your two hands together, close. Of course, I cannot demonstrate on the radio.
I'll try to describe while you show
Okay.
where it is.
There's 3 fingers like this.
Mm-hmm.
Touch this center.
Which is, I guess, what we call the sternum?
Yeah, that's the thymus gland place. So how to locate? We draw a cross. There's 2 nipple.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 nipple, one line.
Okay.
The center line, so that's the center place.
Okay. The center
cross.
Of your breastbone.
Yeah, center, the chest.
Okay.
Between the 2 nipple.
Okay.
And put the fingers, only 6 fingers, both hands,
All right.
just slightly touch that place. And you can feel that the heart is beating, and you can relax you in 1 second, I can guarantee. That's something to relieve the tension and the stress, because we have too much stress. That's why we get heart attack. And that way, just that point, can guarantee.
I can feel that as I press. And maybe again, if you're listening and you didn't pick up on the points, we'll try to re-describe it again. If you draw a line across your chest from the 2 nipples on your chest and another line or meridian right down the center of your body from your forehead and nose down the middle of your mouth, where those 2 points intersect on your chest, at your breastbone, I think it would be, on your chest, if you put 3 fingers of each hand just a little bit apart, maybe, an inch apart, I guess, something like that, an inch apart, on that point where the 2 lines intersect, and press in, you can feel your heart, and that's an acupuncture point, or an acupressure point, which is correct.
Acupressure point. I think we use acupuncture, looks like we have to punch.
Mm-hmm.
The acupuncture theory is very, very important. Like I said before, you can use finger, you can use a needle, you can use a spoon, you can use a rock, just your own choice. So in this case, we don't use needle. We cannot reach needles to stick on our own body. We just use fingers. That's 6 fingers, touch that place. You cannot imagine how effective that is. I taught so many people. They had some people just been saved from the heart attack. Some people, the big chest pain, in 2 seconds disappeared.
What about headaches? That's another common symptom. A lot of people experience headaches in today's society.
Headache, there are 2 points behind the head. Behind the head, there are 2, I call half moon.
Half moons of the skull.
Yeah,
yes.
half moon scalp. Just press around. Use the finger. Press around to find 1 spot. Really, really painful. That's the point. To locate first, we locate the point. Mm-hmm. Then how to do it? Just after we locate that point, then we do this rotate
the thumb
and press as hard as you can. You can read 1, 2, 3, 4 to 10. Then that's 1 session. Then you relax, maybe 1 second or 2, and then locate that point again, and read 1 to 10, 1 to 10. Repeat 5 to 6 times. In 5 minutes, the pain disappears. But sometimes the headache comes back again. That's why you need your doctor to really find out what caused the pain. You cannot just rely on relief the pain. Sometimes causes danger. That way, we have to find out the root. Not only just like take 1 aspirin. That's it.
Is it necessary for me to go to an acupuncturist in order to get my body in tune? I'm just going to assume. Now, I'm in pretty good physical health. I haven't had any severe illnesses. I don't think any of my organs are acting up internally. My heart and my lungs and everything seem to be working pretty well. But I suppose I could always be healthier than I am. I could get a tune-up. Is there a way that I can do that myself for my own body? Or should I see someone who really is a specialist, who has ancestry like yours, people that have been doing this for 2,000 years?
Of course not. That's what I've been teaching. I never encourage people to go see anybody, including myself. I don't really practice acupuncture. I try to give the idea to people, let people help themselves. Like before, you can use your own finger to reach a big healing there. You don't really need, sometimes you don't have the time to go, allowed you to go to see some specialist. And also so-called specialists sometimes might have, even the best guy can make some mistake. If that little mistake may cause a big unfortune to somebody. And also the needle, how to sterilize the needle and so on is very a critical thing. They can transmit all kinds of germs, such as hepatitis, even parasite, if they not really do the good job. Sometimes they stick the needle on the nerves instead of the real point, the so-called acupuncture point. Point means the opening of the meridians. They miss the little place they stick on a needle. They cause a lot of pain. So that means you're going to hurt that nerve tissue. The nerve tissue is so easy to be hurt, and it's so hard to be regenerated. So that's some kind of disadvantage. Unless you really find that person, they really have a very well training. Also, you guarantee this guy never make a mistake. Mm-hmm. So I think beyond, also another thing is the acupuncture equals the physical therapy in the hospital. It's not mainstream. The mainstream in Chinese medicine or Taoism is do yourself. That's your own body. You have to take care of it. For example, diet program is very important. If you keep using animal fat, I don't mean the Chinese food is most healthy way to cook. No, the Chinese way cook is very oily, too oily, and it's not really healthy, especially stir fry and so on. Mm-hmm. It's not a Taoist, but it's closer to Taoist principle. And compared to the Western food, it's a little better because the Western food is so much meat and it's so much butter, and that's terrible. So something have to be, we have to do, be carefully. Every day, whatever we put into our body, you are what you eat. You're what you metabolized. So that's the basic thing, how to eat. Second thing is exercise. Also, internal organs, they are exercising. Every second they're moving, like a heart. Every second is beating. And the kidneys are beating, and the liver is beating. So every organ they're working there. So then we have to do something to help them to work right. Don't let one organ overdoing or another organ less doing. So the key word is a balance. That's why I wrote the book called Internal Exercise, the book of internal exercise. This book has been adopted by Columbia University Hospital as a textbook there, like for the internship. And they found out that that's something we have to do daily to help the internal organs work right. Sex is another thing. Sex can do a lot good to, there's a best exercise is sex because it includes physical body, mental body, and the spiritual body. 3 in 1. So if we do that right, that's a great healing, great pleasure. If we do that, we miss some point that we do that wrong, that become a big disaster, can deplete the battery, in other words. It's a lot of healing in the sex part. So another part is a lot of wisdom, the thinking part, like a positive thinking. The body, every cell in our body, that's a small me, small I. That's a microcosm. So they have feeling, they have life in there. So we have to appreciate, we have to cooperate with them. So you talk to the heart. You put your hand, love the heart. I think that's a great healing, that's great attitude of the mind. So even you go to see a doctor, if the mind is not right, the healing result will be reduced. So that's why I think acupuncture is just one little part. Of course, if you get the charge once in a while, get the tune-up, that's a pleasure. It's good, but not necessary. It's not the only way to help the body.